Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me on this Friday for the live stream. We are at the Friday before the Super Bowl. Hear a slight echo, but we will get that tuned out. I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes here, and maybe not a few minutes, but just a minute here to get things squared away, and will give me a minute here to share the stream with the faithful followers of me and Honorbound IT. So may have to click the search button, search for Honorbound IT. If you can't find it, oh, there we go. Share that. Bam. Share with my friends. Did I share it? Oh, I did share it. Yep, I shared this post. Perfect. All right. The post has been shared. We got a lot coming up for you here, so stay tuned, and we'll be back right after these messages. Welcome to the Honorbound IT Weekly Live Show, starring Greg Fine, Keith Haskin, Jennifer Hall, and Mr. Rogers. All right, everybody, welcome to the Honorbound IT live stream, done every week, every Friday. We try to stick to around 4 p.m. So if you guys are watching this, thank you for joining. As you can see, Greg is not in this week. He is on a trip. And so, when he gets back next week, we'll let you know what he's been doing. Pretty exciting stuff. So, it's something, maybe you only get to do it once a year, but you got to do it when it comes up. So he'll be back next week. Otherwise, it's just going to be me here. And obviously, Spencer Rogers, tech engineer, sound, audio, video, handling everything for us over there. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, like I was saying before we got started, we got a lot of stuff to get into. Obviously have our stuff we talk about, stuff we did this week. We actually did a couple different things, and we'll talk about, making plans and the title of our video, putting customers first, which is what's really important, especially in what we do with technology. And because we support small businesses, they need somebody to make sure their stuff is working so they can keep working. But we'll get into that. And as always, stay tuned. End of the video, we do have a meme of the week, as well as a lovely cat picture. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, as always, we always have the bench report. So we'll take it away.
And now for the bench report with Jennifer Hall.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the bench report here this week. I'm Keith, and I'm here with Jennifer Hall. Every Friday, we do the bench report for you guys. And this week, we're going to talk about things we see on the bench. And what we saw in this week was some older computers, and specifically 10-year-old computers was the ones that were coming in. We had a couple computers coming in, and they were from 2013. And that's kind of old for a computer, and we'll get into it, but one of them wasn't working, one of them was. And we'll start with the one that wasn't working, because this one was a little bit more serious. He brought his computer in, and it just died on him, that old Nobilis computer that Greg had sold him 10 years ago. And you want to kind of talk about what happened and how we helped him out?
Well, I had to take out the hard drive because it wouldn't start. When I hooked it to our machine, it just ticked, tick, 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 ticked. It never really started the hard drive.
Yeah, if you hear that sound, that clicking on your hard drive, you probably have like one of those rotational drives, and that clicking is definitely not a good sound. And unfortunately, we was not able to read the data on that hard drive and help him out with that backup. But he brought in an external hard drive, and he was backing up to that. So a lot of the stuff that was on his hard drive on his computer that he couldn't get to, he actually had that backed up. So he was very, very happy that he had that, because he was in the middle of writing books and things like that. And that's quite a bit of a process. And so saving those files, it was very important to him. He had some pictures and other things like that he had backed up. So it goes to show the importance of having some kind of a backup. If you don't back up just to your computer, we say 3, 2, 1 if you can. 3 copies of the data, 2 locations, 1 on the cloud. He probably didn't have one in the cloud. We didn't get that far with him, but he had a new computer too, which was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So he was kind of ready for it, I think. So, we were happy to help him out the best that we could. Another computer we had, another 10-year-old computer we had come in. This man brought in his Dell computer, and the man said he couldn't connect to the internet, and he brought in a paper that showed this error message. And he said he called the internet provider, and they told him everything was working fine. Well, if we rule that out, that obviously leads us to think that something's going wrong with the computer itself. So we had to bring it in for a diagnostics. And you want to talk about this computer, in particular some of the specifics and some of the troubles with a 10-year-old computer.
Well, it is super slow. It's on Windows 7, which is not protected anymore. It was slow.
Yeah, it was really slow. But we ran the diagnostics,
Uh-huh.
and everything passed, right?
It did.
So, that leads us to believe that the computer was working, his internet was working, it was something else in his environment, and so we can't troubleshoot everything. But the computer itself, being on Windows 7, not supported, we would really recommend people not using that online. And if you do need to use something online, get something that's protected. Windows 10, or better yet, Windows 11 that's been out for a little over a year now. And yeah, and actually because, his computer was working and, he called his internet provider and they said everything was working, that actually led us to another topic, because we were getting calls this week, and even us at home are having some problems with our internet connections. And what should you do if you experience an internet outage? And there's a lot of things you can do. Jennifer, you kind of want to run through a list of troubleshooting things that people can do on their own?
Well, the first thing that you want to do is restart your computer. And then if that doesn't work, then unplug your modem. If that doesn't work, call your provider.
Yep. Yeah, restarting your computer always first, and then restarting your modem. Usually just unplug it, maybe wait 30 seconds and then plug it back in, and then I think it takes, maybe 5 minutes for everything to cycle through and get back up and online. And, one of the support calls we had, that's what fixed for her. You said that your parents also had the same thing.
Yeah. And all I had to do was unplug their modem and
Yeah.
let it sit for a little bit.
Yeah, and
plug it back in.
the same thing happened at my house. I woke up one morning and just noticed that my Wi-Fi wasn't connected. I tried to reset my phone and it didn't work, so I just unplugged the modem, plugged it back in. Everything came back online, which if you ever call your internet provider, which is usually what you do if your internet's not working, they're going to tell you to do those same things. So, start ahead and get those things checked out first. If you do all that other stuff, really the only other option is to wait. A lot of providers, there's service issues and outages, or there's updates going on. I know a lot of times when they're doing some upgrades in the area, they do have intermittent outages. There's not much you can do but wait. I mean, if you really wanted to turn your hotspot on your phone and connect to the internet, if you really had to, you can do that. But long and short of it is it'll come back. You're just going to have to be patient with it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the Bench Report this week. We hope to see you next time.
Inflation is diminishing purchasing power. For a business, this can result in slower sales and lower profits. Everything is going up. So how does this impact your business technology? Inflation starts when it's hard to get goods and services. Heard the phrase supply chain challenges? In the last few years, I'm sure you have. You know firsthand the difficulties of getting some items. The best thing you can do is to look for business efficiencies and ways to reduce costs. Watch this week's Tech Talk to learn some handy inflation fighting strategies.
All right, everybody, the Bench Report this week. Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing all the information that we have. It was very interesting stuff because, we always talk about people bringing in old stuff all the time. And, ironically, people bringing in computers that are both 10 years old was something that happens. Usually we get a little different ages, but, 10 years is actually a great life for a computer. We always tell people, if you've gotten 10 years out of a computer, you've done it really good for your investment. Typically we say 5 years, is about the time that, things start to turn sideways. anything you get past 5 years is very good for a computer because technology just changes so fast. I mean, you think about 20 years ago when people were just starting to buy computers for their home. It became really mainstream, and computers were lasting for a while. But with the way operating systems change so fast, I mean, from Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows XP, Windows 7, all those operating systems. Microsoft has a life cycle of their software that only seems to last about 5 years, and so obviously your technology should be changing at least every 5 years. If you're not getting 5 years, we always try to say, if maybe it's worth a repair or part replacement, things like that. But once it starts to reach about 5 years, that's when we start talking about replacement rather than fixing it, because you don't want to start to fix one thing and then 2 weeks later something else fails and then you had to spend more money on it, rather than if you just would have bought something new initially when things started to go sideways, then you don't have to worry about things failing, because new computers come with warranties and the hardware should last a little bit longer, hopefully. But yeah, Bench Report was great. But we got some things that we did this week. Greg's not here, but he was here during the week. So we did work. We did a lot of things. And, every Monday morning we sit down together, and that's kind of like our meeting day. So we sit down, we plan things, we talk about, things that we're going to need to do this week. We go back and look at last week. Hey, we didn't get this done, or hey, we got this done. We didn't get it done. Let's put it back on the calendar and schedule it and try to get it done this week. So we actively use our calendars to plan things. And we actually just had our lunch and learn back with the Chamber of Commerce a week or 2 weeks ago now, back in January. It was about time management and planning accordingly and things like that. And, so kind of what I was talking about just now, we plan our week out. So we put things on the calendar so we know, hey, we know what we're doing, so that way we don't get lost. Or if you don't have anything on the calendar, we really don't have a plan. We're just kind of lingering. And sometimes we just look at each other like, well, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have anything on the calendar. And, we can kind of improvise then. But, that was getting to be a challenge. And so we always tell people, if you can put things on the calendar, it has a date, it has a deadline, you see it, you're going to do it. So we always use that to plan our week out. Now, because of the nature of what we do, we do Honorbound IT does tech support for small businesses, and things like that. And so, we're kind of on call during the business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. People can call us for support requests, and we can do remote sessions where we can fix issues, or if somebody sees something they're not sure about, we can kind of go in and, give some advice and some expertise that we have, because we do see a lot of these issues. And so we put things on the calendar. Greg and I are going to work on this. We're going to do some marketing this afternoon, So Tuesday had some marketing stuff on our schedule. Tuesday, we get a call from a client, and we end up doing some work. And sometimes, things we can fix rather quickly. Sometimes it does take a little bit longer to resolve an issue or go through and troubleshoot. If the first thing doesn't work, we go to the second thing. If the second thing doesn't work, third and fourth, and so on until we, usually we take a time to call it, and then we say, hey, let's get back, research, we'll reschedule. And that happens to us because we do get calls or emails with support requests. And, it seems to happen when we plan things out. And I don't know how many of you guys out there are just, you put something on the schedule and then something else comes up. If that happens to you, let us know in the chat, because it certainly happens to us quite often. And so, obviously have to reschedule. So the marketing thing we had planned on Tuesday, we got pushed to Wednesday. Well, guess what happened on Wednesday? More support calls come in on Wednesday, and have to reschedule that for another day. And, and then the next day nobody calls, and we can get our work done that we had planned, but it pushes everything, a day ahead or 2 days ahead or a week ahead, just because, clients come first, and we always put our clients first, whether, marketing and the internal stuff, we can work on in our own time. But when we get a call, we get an email, something goes wrong, people need us, we have to be there. We have to be there for the support. And so whether it's remote support, which is probably 95% of the stuff that we do is remote support. That's the nice thing about what we do, is because we can install software where we can actually remote to your computer, whether you're, 15 15 miles away, 5 miles away, 150 miles away. That saves you that drive, because there are people that do live further away that can't stop what they're doing to bring a computer down to our shop for service and repair. Rather they can just pick up the phone and give us a call and we can fix it, 15 minutes, rather than somebody driving, 30 miles, dropping your computer off, leaving it here for a day or two, and then coming back and picking it up. You've done lost, 2.5 days just by doing that, by driving, having your computer in service and repairs. When you get on a service with us, whether it's we have a residential service, we have our security on a shoestring, which has been really taking off since we launched that service. And we also have our IT toolkit, which is like a full IT support team for your business. We can get you up and going as fast as we can and then get you back to work, which is very important because, downtime dollars do add up, especially if it's a business that's running on one computer and, everybody has to use that computer. And if nobody's using it, then, you're just wasting money. And we try to avoid that as much as possible. And that's one of the things we talk about when you have a consultation with us. But yeah, plans, making plans, very important. So we're going to keep doing that, whether or not we get interrupted and are focusing on our internal stuff, whether it's training, marketing, sales, whatever. We always put our clients first. Okay. Yeah, when putting our clients first, we do a lot of stuff for them. And then one of the things that I actually worked on this week, very important that your computer works and doesn't make any strange sounds or things like that. And we had a client call and they said, oh, my laptop's making kind of a loud sound, like the fan is just buzzing, bzz, just really loud, louder than normal. It just started happening. Thought I'd call you and see if there's anything you can do remotely. Well, sure, we can do a couple things. We can do diagnostics to make sure the parts are working. We can do remote diagnostics and check out on some of those things. And, so this client we did that for, said, well, let's just jump in at the end of the day. We'll start the diagnostics, full test takes a few hours, and we'll come back the next day and take a look and see if things have changed or if we got any alerts or error messages, warnings of parts going bad. So in this particular case, everything was good. So, we ran the diagnostics and, tried a couple of different things and said, well, it is a fan, it's a laptop. Do you think you could just spray some canned air in it in the back and maybe something just got sucked up in there in the fans? And yeah, we'll try that. They tried that and no, the fan's still loud. And they're still using the computer, mind you, but it's just really loud. And, I kind of heard, through the phone, they kind of held it up there. I was like, yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, that's annoying. How can you get any work done with somebody blowing in your ears zzz, constantly? So, being on a laptop, it wasn't hard to get a new laptop. But what is hard for a lot of people is, all your work's on one laptop, and you got to go to this other laptop. And one of the important things is to make sure when you're moving devices, you don't lose any of your data, anything that's business critical, anything that you need to work, you don't want to get interrupted too much. And so one of the nice things that we use is a little thing called the cloud. Now, if you haven't heard of the cloud, it's like basically anything online is the cloud. So, any of your work you're doing online, even like your social media, your Amazons, all that stuff is cloud, because you can get onto it from any device. Now, for working purposes, so we use a cloud server to help our clients. They have specific applications, and instead of installing this application on multiple workstations, we install it on a single cloud server. We create a remote desktop session where they can actually remote to the server to access the app. And, that's one thing that this client was doing. So they had their laptop and they was accessing the cloud server from that app. Well, the laptop was starting to turn bad. The fan's getting very annoying. We can do the repair here. You ship us a laptop, or if you have another laptop there, you can use. We can get it set up. And turns out they did have another laptop, and they said, okay, well, I guess I got to move my stuff to this laptop. Hey, no problem. We turned on the laptop. We signed in to our Microsoft accounts. Everything was synced with OneDrive. All the files synced over. Boom. I mean, that took 20 minutes maybe to get that all set up for them, and then installing the remote desktop software so they can connect to the cloud server to continue working, and maybe another 15 or 20 minutes, setting up the printer, another 10 minutes. So, in a matter of, an hour, we had this person back up and going on a new laptop. And, to limit that downtime that they had between, their computers having problems and things like that, if it was to completely die, maybe we could have picked up the laptop and did it quicker. But we wanted to troubleshoot the other one first just to make sure that we were doing our diligence and testing and making sure things were working. Now, if you didn't have a spare laptop, you obviously have to go run and buy one, and it has to be a Windows Pro if you want to use remote desktop services to access cloud servers. So if that's something that you guys have been thinking about out there, let us know in the chat. We do like to help people, especially when it comes to cloud and Microsoft 365. Those are one of the things that we really specialize in, and allowing people to work remotely or work from home or work from wherever they want. That's kind of the idea of what cloud is allowing you to access your files, any of your important documents, pictures, things like that, on any device at any time. And if you have to collaborate with people, Microsoft 365, we use Teams and Outlook to communicate, and email, whatever that you need to do. Teams is very helpful with file sharing, video chat, audio calls, things like that. So it's been a real lifesaver for what we do. And, anytime that we get a chance to talk to people about it, and if they're interested in, or if they've heard of Teams, but they're really not sure what it does, let us know. We can have a conversation about that as well. Well, enough about work, I guess. I've been working all week, and man, I think looking forward to the weekend for sure. Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know if you guys are. I know the IT nerds out there maybe not all be into sports, and Greg talks about all the time he could care less about sports, but I've been a sports fan my whole life, and being from raised in Kansas, I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and they are playing in the Super Bowl this week. So you guys are watching out there. You need to get out there, and you need to get your Chiefs hats, your Chiefs jerseys, your get your Chiefs on, cheer for the Chiefs, go Chiefs, right? So they're playing against the Eagles from Philadelphia, and a lot of stuff going on with that. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl. One of the best. The Super Bowl it's good for a lot of things, right? There's the game. The game is great. If you love sports, you're gonna love the Super Bowl game. It's probably the most popular sporting event of the year. A lot of people watch Super Bowl for the commercials, and there's a lot of interesting commercials, and I think people spend. It's getting out of control with they're spending like $5 million for a 30-second ad on the Super Bowl, because so many people are watching it. This is the time to get your message out there in the Super Bowl. And there are times where, there's some people out there, celebrities promoting, Bitcoin, and then it turns sideways on them, and then people lose their fortune. So, watch out for your investments, things like that. But the Super Bowl has great commercials. But one of my favorite things about the Super Bowl, and Spencer, I want you to chime in on this, is, we have a little Super Bowl gathering, and when you have people at your house, you got to have food. And so, everybody has their go-tos, and mine, I'm very simple, pizza, chicken wings, chips and dip, whatever drink you decide to have, some sodas or whatever. That's what I go to. Spencer, why don't you chime in? What kind of things do you enjoy for the Super Bowl dinner?
So mom usually makes the mini weenies, like the I'm trying to remember what they call them. Little Smokies. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That usually like a really good taco dip, like cheese dip with chips.
Cheese dip is great.
Yeah, and then I was kind of thinking like a pizza maybe or something like that.
Yeah, pizza is always my go-to. I mean, I eat pizza all the time. And I guess the Super Bowl is just another excuse to eat more pizza. But I know some people go all out with I've seen fruit trays and veggie trays and all kinds of meat trays and things like that. And people will decorate them to look like a football or a football field or the team that's playing. There's places that sell cupcakes with little decorated rings and things like that on there with the Chiefs and the Eagles, and you get 2 different color cupcakes for both teams, or you buy a big cake that looks like a football field and enjoy that at the party. There's all kinds of stuff, but I guess the desserts kind of get left out. And now that I'm thinking about it, these Super Bowl parties, I mean, fruit's not really a dessert, but people have the fruit trays. But yeah, I don't think I have had dessert like cheesecake, cupcakes, none of that. Any of my, I can recall Super Bowl parties, and I watch the Super Bowl every year. It's the biggest sporting event of the year. So just a little bonus that the Chiefs made the Super Bowl again. So be looking forward to that. Let's take some numbers. I'm gonna say 38-35, the Chiefs. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored and too high. It's the number one on both conferences. So Spencer, what do you got?
Like 34-28, 34-27, something like that.
28. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chiefs, right? Going Chiefs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Spencer's a Cowboys fan, so I know he hates to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But yeah, hey, you guys, in the chat, if you guys are here, let us know what your favorite Super Bowl food is. Maybe you can get it for the weekend. Still got some time to go shopping and pick that stuff up. So, or if you have a specific recipe, share it with us in the chat. We'd love to hear what you guys are doing out there for the Super Bowl. But yeah, enough about that. Enough about stuff we've done. The moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for meme of the week. We got a good one for you. Take it away, Spencer.
All right. So there is the meme. And so for this week, we're looking at a cat that's trying to be a doctor, and it says, dogs can't operate MRI machines, but cats can. That's pretty good. I gotta say, that's definitely a new one for me. For sure.
Perfect play on words.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then we got your cat pick of the week, right?
Yeah, I stole that off of the boss's Facebook timeline. We didn't get one submitted, so we had to search for one. And I couldn't tell you, but Greg has 7 or 8 cats, and they all have different names. I couldn't tell you which one this was, but little kitty sitting on a kitty on a pedestal, I think is what the caption was. I'd have to go back and look, but cats always stand in the strangest places. They have, everybody has their cat towers and things like that, and they'll sit on there. I know cats like to walk on ledges, so if you have like a mantle or something like that, you'll see them walk across there. My cats always walk across the windowsill, and I can see them when I'm coming home from lunch. They're in front of the curtains. So, Greg, thank you for the cat pick of the week. We love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, coming up on the half-hour mark here, and we got a lot. I think we talked about quite a bit. I hope we gave everybody some valuable information out there, and if you had any other thoughts out there. But we do got one more thing for you before we go. I almost forgot. The sponsors of this video is Honorbound IT.
Hey, have you heard about Security on a Shoestring? It's the right size protection for many small businesses that don't have a lot of budget but want the basics. So what does it include? You get security with next generation antivirus, cloud-based firewall, a complete set and forget daily backup. Imagine having your own pit crew that monitors your computer's health. You'll have the latest patches and updates. We also perform routine maintenance on your PC automatically. You'll get access to us from 8 to 5 Central Time on a pay-as-you-go basis. Is Security on Shoestring affordable? Security on Shoestring was designed to fit any budget. You pay only for what you use, nothing more. Join hundreds of other customers who trust Honorbound IT. Find out if Security on a Shoestring is a good fit for you. Call 877-814-6860. Again, 877-814-6860.
All right. I always save the best for last, right? And the Security on a Shoestring. I want to talk about that a little bit because me and Greg did work a lot on that this week, and It's a product we've had it around for probably about 5 months, 6 months now, and we're really happy with the way that it's been going, and people have been asking for it, and so it's what it is it's security for your small business. It's for anybody actually. It's your antivirus. You got to have that for your security, making sure you're not getting any malicious files or things like that. And it also includes Cloud Firewall, so it's a little bit better security than you would get from your regular antiviruses. It's also cloud backup. It's one of the most important things is not losing your data. So having that daily cloud backup where your computer will sync to the cloud when it's online, and then if you ever dies or if you ever delete something, you're not sure, you can actually go back to our cloud backup and recover data. We do keep it infinite retention on it. As long as you're on the service, it starts the backup from that day, and we can pull back any data from that day on. And then also the remote support, one of the most important things I almost forgot. Like I said, people are far away, and then stopping what you're doing to drive to the computer store to get a repair, it's very inconvenient. They'd rather just pick up the phone or send an email and set up a remote session with us. We can help you out, and then that way it saves you a bunch of time and hopefully keeps you from going down. And now the other thing our stuff does is actually PC monitoring. So that's another good important thing. If we get alerts that stuff is starting to fail, or maybe your hard drive's filling up or hard drive's failing, we actually get an alert before you even note it, and then we can connect with you and take a plan of action, making sure that things aren't getting too far gone before it's too late. So Security on a Shoestring, it's here and it's available. If you're interested, let us know in the chat or stop by here at the store, 109 Norris Avenue, or give us a call. That's our Facebook Friday, folks. Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great week, and I hope we did okay, and if we didn't, let us know in the chat. Let's keep us informed, and always, if you have pictures of your cats, send them to us. If you have pictures of memes, send them to us. Meme of the week brought to you by Terry Carlson, our local favorite, correct? Perfect.
Yep, you're right.
Well, next week we should have Greg back, and we do have some really cool stuff going on next week. We'll definitely talk about that on our live stream. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey! Did you just hear that?